Zach's not here, so we are back. Episode 75 of the BSG podcast. And we got a special one for you tonight. A voice that you may have heard on the Golf Channel. You may know his brother, but this man is a legend of his own. Mark Immelman. I guess Bray's going to tell you more about him during the show, so we don't need to say anything about him right now. You don't guess?
No, just a good heads up that's our guest tonight, and it's going to be a very good one.
So shout out to Mitch for pulling this guest in. Way to go, Mitch, doing his part. Check out this interview.
I got to contribute a little bit, guys.
He did. Check out this interview with Mark.
Welcome, everyone, to the Be.Still Golf podcast, where we discuss just about anything and everything in the golf world. Today, we are joined by an amazing guest who has a ton of accolades in his college career, coaching career, and now into a broadcasting career. We are honored to be joined today by Mr. Mark Immelman, a three-time All-American at Columbus State University, and where he also earned 2 national championships with the team. Mark was the head coach at CSU for 14 years, beginning in 2001, and then becoming the director of golf in 2015 until recently, moving on to announcing for the PGA Tour in 2021. You may have heard him on his podcast show called On the Mark, but you'll be hearing from him today on our show. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Brady, for that nice introduction. I'm honored. I'm honored that you honored. I mean, good gracious. I'm not that important, but it's good to be with you guys.
Brady said that it's very important that we start this by letting you know that we do a thing on our channel where the 4 of us scramble against a really good golfer, and we're currently 0-1 against Columbus State golfers. We lost to Bernard earlier this year at
I think it was in March
or Maple Ridge.
Yeah, okay.
So
well,
we're 0-1 against Columbus State.
Well, Bernard is infinitely better than I am, so I'm sure that just one of you could take me out. Certainly 3 of you. I think it'd be one-way traffic. But Bernard's a pretty good young player, and I like what I see out of him. He's a good kid, and he works hard, and he's taking his chances over here because he's just like me. I was a young South African kid that came over here to college, and it was a great experience. And I worked hard, and I managed to parlay that into a lifetime here and a family here, and so it's a good break for him, and I'm glad he's getting to meet guys like you.
Yeah, as we were 3 down, I asked Brady, why did you pick Bernard? And he said, I just looked to see who has the lowest scoring average, and I messaged him. And I said, we could have picked somebody on the other end of that spectrum. But no, Bernard, he was top-notch. Great guy. So
great attitude the whole time as well. He played very well against us and definitely put us in our place there towards the end.
Well, he did go down for a second, but then he got quiet for a minute, and then we knew we were in trouble.
It's like he locked in.
Look, no, he might have gotten quiet because he didn't understand you guys a bit, or you didn't understand him. There's always the lost in translation stuff for us South African folks down here in the South,
Yeah, he asked us if we hunt, and Brady and I were like, yeah, we love to hunt. And he said, oh, I walked through the bush. Is it called the bush? Or
the bush,
I was thinking, no, I sit in a tree stand, and he's talking about there's lions and all that. I said, no, never mind, Bernard. 2 different kinds of hunting.
Yeah, the stuff that they hunt down in South Africa can kill you right back if you miss them. So
yes.
It's a bit more
dangerous. Had a different version of hunting compared to what he was saying.
I
was going to start and just ask, what was your initial decision to travel from South Africa to the United States to play golf at an early age?
Honestly, Brady, as a young player, I was pretty good. But, back in the day, that was in sort of the late 80s. Opportunities for us weren't so great. We had mandatory military service right then. And so all us kids would go and do our army service. And then after that, it was either like turn professional or do something else. And I didn't think at that stage, I was a good golfer, but I didn't think I was good enough. And so thankfully I was caddying a little bit, and I met a young guy from Columbus, Georgia called Hugh Royer. And next thing he sees me playing, he's like, what are you doing caddying? And I was like, well, I don't know what else to do. And so he goes, you got to go to school in college in the States. And I was like, well, how do you do that? And so he called up his dad, who was the pro here, and we sent them a VHS video cassette back in the day, and so they looked at this and they figured I was good enough, and they offered me a scholarship. That's sort of the short story, but in many respects, it was crazy. It's very serendipitous how the whole thing worked out. That I caddied for him on the pro tour over there, and he was from Columbus, and then I came back and I taught golf where his dad used to be for a while. So it was kind of crazy, how the whole loop got tied, the whole bow got tied, and so it was just a cool story all around. And I'm still in Columbus. I mean, that's the crazy part of it.
After having a great success in college golf, were you expecting to have a long career playing professionally, or was coaching golf something that you saw more important after you finished?
Yeah, I kind of was. My goal was to play, and I was successful in college. And I did turn professional. I played like 3 events. I had like a top 10 and a miscut and like a middle of the pack sort of finish. But at that stage, I was about, maybe 22 or 3. And my younger brother, Trevor, was 9 years my junior. And he was able to beat me as like a 15, 14-year-old. And so my goals to be the best golfer in the world were kind of scuttled by my younger brother. So I figured if I couldn't beat my household consistently, I was going to have a tough time on the world tours. So I, I I started playing a little less, and then I was offered a job with IMG, and then the teaching just kind of came out of that. And in the end, I think it was very much a godsend that it happened. I mean, I could have been a good player, I guess, but I think my chops were in teaching, and so it all worked out for the best in the end of it all.
Does Trevor ever, being the younger brother, kind of pull out the green jacket to kind of show you who's the better golfer or anything?
Um, Thankfully, he's not allowed to keep it at his house. So I'm sure if he did, he would. But the truth of it is, back in 2008, when he won, the winner gets to keep the jacket for a year.
Hmm.
And he never really brought it out very often. It stayed in a garment bag in his closet and only on special occasions. But look, I mean, we both know that for me to beat him, I'd have to break his ankles first. So I think if it's just 14 clubs, it wouldn't be fair. So no, it's
Even
pretty
today,
one-sided when you play. Even today,
even
my game is non-existent. I get frustrates me more than anything else. And Trevor's he's lucky enough to be able to play a whole lot of golf, when he's not on the road. So no,
yeah.
I think it'd be pretty one-sided.
We've seen a pretty large increase in Euro players, Aussies, and South Africans in our colleges within probably the last few decades, I would say. What can you tell us about the young players coming to the United States looking to pursue a career in golf, anything with like culture change, going back to visit with their family and making them feel like they're at home here?
It's a long way to travel for young kids, and it is a big change. To come over here and be in college, because in university where I'm from, for argument's sakes, and even the Aussies and the New Zealanders, university sport is not a big thing. It's certainly unlike here, and so coming over here to play college, you have to go and study and then do your work and stuff is a change in scenery, and then you're a long way away from your family. And so I've always found, I mean, when I was coaching, the first few months were very, very hard for the international kids. But the one thing they had was a real desire and almost like a last chance saloon kind of thing, because this was their one chance to just get out of wherever they're from and maybe make it. So they would all come over here with a lot of desire and a lot of um, the propensity to work hard. And so I think that was the separator for all of them, because talent is one thing, but hard work is the separator. And so they'd come over here and they'd be like, all right, this is my chance. I'm going to take it. Even though it was difficult and out of the ordinary and everything's new, it's a chance to kind of do what you love and get to do it on the biggest stage in the world. So I would say that's the one thing. If you speak to all of them, there are very few guys that will bail because they know it's just such an incredible opportunity.
Uh, we had a few years ago, our the university in our hometown is Point University.
Yeah.
Uh, and we had, when the golf program first started, I believe Coach Payne may have been the first coach, and he's from South Africa, correct? I
Yeah,
believe.
that well, Steve. Yeah, well, Stephen. I mean, that's kind of what happened with us. I came over here and I played, and then I went back home and I was hired as the coach, many moons later. And I promised myself as a coach that I was going to give South African kids the same opportunities that I did. And so
Uh-huh.
we had a few players that I recruited that came over, and Stephen was one of them. He's
Oh
actually from
wow.
my hometown in South Africa. And so he played for me for 4 years and had a good career as a player. And then he worked for me as a volunteer assistant for a bit. And he started teaching lessons, and that's kind of where he developed his coaching chops a little bit. And then he was offered the job at Point, and he went over there and absolutely killed it. I mean, he did a great
He,
job. And
he had him ranked number one year after year.
mhm.
He brought in great athletes. That's when I believe I don't remember what years he was there, but I was either coming out of college from Point or I was just finishing up. And I remember just everybody talked about our golf program, how we were number one like every year when Coach Payne was there.
Yeah,
He did an amazing job.
he did. Well, it was, I was proud to see it sort of transpire that way because he's a super good guy. He really connects and resonates with the young men. I think it's kind of his ministry, and he became a really good golf coach. And he had a way with kids where he'd sort of have a softly spoken discipline. So the kids would respect him and listen. And then he was an expert recruiter. I mean, that's how he
Yeah.
got the gig at Mississippi State and eventually Augusta University.
Hmm.
And he put together some good teams, and he's certainly climbed up the college coaching ranks, and all power to him. It's very well deserved.
Going into some of your coaching techniques, if you had to build a golfer from scratch, someone with little golf knowledge, what would be the first few lessons tailored around?
I've always believed, Brady, that good golf begins close to the hole, and I've always maintained that if you're good at shot number three, you'll make lots of threes and fours. If you're good at shot number one, you're going to make fewer big numbers like sixes and sevens. So I would, really develop a good short game because with my brother, that's what happened. He's 9 years younger than me. So when I started playing golf at 14 or so, he was about 4 or 5. And it was built in babysitting for my parents. So I watched how this little kid would run along behind the older kids, the teenagers. Couldn't hit it as far as them, but he found out quickly enough to be able to compete, yet to score. And so he got really good around the greens. And then, look, he naturally got more powerful. And then when he was powerful with a good short game, he became a PGA Tour winner. So I would start close and really develop sort of precision skill. And then obviously we live in a game of power right now. It's the distance era. So I'd be doing lots of speed stuff with them, but still, I mean, you got to score. I can show you lots of long hitters that don't make the numbers, and I can show you those special ones who hit it far and can turn that into low scores, and that'd be the way I go about it.
Do you enjoy teaching the fundamentals of a golf swing, or are you more trying to propose the mental side? And how do you balance that information between the two characteristics to your players?
If you'd asked me this question about 15 years ago, I would have said probably the fundamentals of it. But if you ask me now that I'm 53 years old and a little wiser, I would tell you that it's a very, very mental and emotional game. And so I take a very holistic sort of approach to coaching and to instruction because, look, everything happens from our brain first. So I'm still very much into technique because you can't have bad technique and be competitive. But that being said, good technique with a bad emotional or mental state is also useless. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that question, honestly, now. I spend a lot of time focusing on the mental game and emotional control and all that sort of stuff. But you build that with some technical stuff, and that's sort of where my sweet spot lies.
I
I was
agree. I think. Oh, go ahead, Casey.
I was speaking with a gentleman that I go to church with, and he's in his 60s, and he knows of you. He's a big golfer, and he followed you through Columbus State as well. And
All right.
I was asking him some stuff that I should ask you about, and he said, "Well, first thing I do is ask him about his coaching methods. He's a great coach." And then he said he's talking about one of your daughters. He thinks she's going to be a great golfer as well. Uh, and before we jump into that, he's telling me a story. He said at Woodland Hills in Columbus, it's a course that's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me a story one time. He said he was playing solo, and he was coming around, and he came up to, I forgot what hole it was, and there was you, your brother, and Bones all standing on the tee box together. and y'all were practicing or doing something, and here he was by himself, and y'all said y'all told him to play through, and he said, "Man, the nerves I had to try to hit that shot with all three of them watching me." And I said, "That's cool. I had to be all them there." But to have Bones in Columbus, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. But he said
Well,
y'all had a great relationship.
Bones went to Columbus State or Columbus College
Yeah,
back in the day where
I
I
didn't know
was.
that.
Oh, yeah, and he graduated, I think, a year before me. And then I was actually his younger brother, Tom. We were roommates together in my freshman year. So, yeah, I've known Bones for a long time. He was a good golfer in his own right, too. And the club where I actually am right now at Green Island, when
Mm-hmm.
he got done, playing, he worked here in the bag room for a bit. And that's where he met Larry Mize. And
Oh
then he
wow.
caddied for Larry Mize for a bit, and then through Larry Mize he met Scott Simpson, and through Scott Simpson he met Phil Mickelson, and sort of that's the story. So yeah, it's kind of a crazy connection. That there's two Columbus State grads that are out on the PGA tour. The one talking about the game, and the other guy working alongside Justin Thomas.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
nuts.
When it comes to coaching your children, where do you lie on that? Are you being the role of her coach, or are you trying to be more on the side of their father?
I'm father first, but I'm very much coach, and it's sometimes I blur the lines because that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But you know what? As I've learned going through this all, people respond to messages of love, and if I really want to give a good lesson, it needs to come, you know, kind of filtered or sugared up with some nice compliments and some uplifting words and stuff like that. So I'm both of them. In fact, I'm looking over my shoulder now, right down there, and my youngest is now practicing tennis, and so I'm also a tennis coach on the side, and so it's fun. It really is to be dad and stuff, but it brings with it an added pressure, that's for certain. But I would say though,
Yeah.
I am coach, but I'm a lot less coachy than what I used to be when I was a college coach. That's for certain.
A couple of more questions I've got for you just before we let you go. These are going to be kind of fun. You can elaborate on them as much as you'd like. But first, I want to know how your experience was at the Ryder Cup this year.
USA. USA.
Well, you see, I'm wearing my President's Cup T-shirt.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't see it.
There you are. See, the Ryder Cup was unreal. Look, the golf was great, but just being in Rome was just out of this world. You know, the Eternal City, and so it was just an incredible experience. Something I'll long remember. I was working for a company called Pepsi, you know, PepsiCo, and so I was doing some corporate stuff for them, which was fun. And one evening there was like a dinner, and Justin Leonard and I were like the hosts, and we talked golf. And the other days I was sort of like an outside the ropes announcer for them. So the experience was great. The fans were raucous. I mean, it was nuts how good the fans were, and it was just an out of this world experience. And my wife Tracy got to come over, which made it extra special. And then the day after the Ryder Cup, we celebrated my 53rd birthday in Rome, which is like sounds obnoxious to recount the story, but it was so the 7 days there was something I'll never forget.
You can answer this with a quick answer, but I just want to know from someone with as much golf knowledge as you and the inside, do you think it made a difference for the USA players to take that many weeks off before the Ryder Cup should they have been playing competitive golf to kind of instead of being on vacation mode?
Casey, no doubt, you've hit the nail on the head there. I think I don't want to say it was arrogant of them, but the entire European team played the week before in the BMW PGA, and they came in ready. Yep. And you almost got the sense that the players were like, who do these American guys think they are, that they can take a week off and then come and take us on at home? There's, look, you know what sport's like. Do you think, what football team do you support? Who's your favorite team?
Auburn. In Auburn,
okay, do you think Hugh Freeze would give his guys a week off before they played Alabama?
You're right. I agree.
No, so you hit the nail on the head there. I think if they were revisiting something, the American team came in there flat, and they could have used a bit more preparation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just had to know.
Totally agree with that one.
Yeah. Last one. You can You can name multiple if you'd like. Your favorite course you've played anywhere in the world.
The joke is I haven't played as many courses as I've been to. Of the courses I've played, a lot of them are Georgia based. Obviously Augusta National is well up there, and I love Peachtree, and I think Seaside down in Sea Island is out of this world. And then there are a few great ones in South Africa. But I've been to the old course, and I've been to Pebble Beach, and I've been to these sweet spots, but I haven't got to play them. Maybe one day in the future. But just getting to go there is special, and I count myself very, very fortunate.
Well, Mark, we appreciate you coming on. This was huge for us, and it's cool to know that all this time you were so close to us. So maybe we're going to try to redeem ourselves against another, not Bernard, but another Columbus State.
Okay.
Golfer.
We can't be doing 3-on-1 now. How about Mitch and I take you two guys on or something like that? We make this a bit more
I like
fair.
that.
Right?
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it.
Mitch, we love it. You need to work with Mitch because he's all about shot number one. He doesn't care about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He cares about shot one.
Well, Mitch, I'm not very powerful, so you just smash us down the fairway and I'll take the rest. How does that sound?
Hey, that works for me. That works for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mark.
Hey, maybe I'll take him. Maybe we'll take him out there to Seahoy. Let him
That
play
sounds
out there.
like a great idea.
We'll do
I
it.
think that needs to happen.
That'll be fun. They haven't been out there yet. It's a fun little course. It's not long, but it's fun and it's beautiful out there.
Our goal for 2024 is we're trying to play all the trail courses for Robert Trent Jones in 2024.
Okay.
And we're going to try to film the whole series. And so that's kind of our goal for next year, to try to make that hike around town. But Mark, we appreciate it. This was big for us, and thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was actually quite honored when you reached out, and I love to talk golf, and I love guys with some sort of initiative like you are to start a show like this, because I know what it's like to do a podcast, and it's hard work, and it's sort of a labor of love. So I commend you, and I support everything you're doing.
We'll have to get you back on before the President's Cup, because I think it's gonna be a different story.
Okay, you can get me on. I'll dress up. I'll be in my studio. I'll be all golfy looking, and we can do it then. Okay.
We're gonna have Mitchell's whole belly painted in red, white, and blue. We're ready.
I'd love to see it. When you do that, I'm gonna hold you to it. We're gonna do something social media. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks,
For
Mark.
sure.
All right,
For
boys.
sure.
Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark, for being on the pod. That was incredible. It's crazy to think that someone like him is so close to us. Like, he was at Columbus State and whatnot. Yeah. And the fact that Bones graduated from Columbus University, that's wild.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I didn't. I was wondering why Bones was in Columbus playing golf out of all places. Like, why are you in the dirty South in Columbus, Georgia? But that makes sense right there. So as you can see, we've kind of set up a me and Brady versus Mark and Mitchell kind of thing set up. So,
dude, that's gonna be good.
That will be fun. That'll be
me
fun.
and Brady need a team name, but Mark and Mitchell can be like Team Eminem or something. They can be the M&Ms or, but we're gonna get them back on before the President's Cup. Maybe make some kind of little friendly wager with them. USA is gonna take the dub, I believe. But
guess I'm gonna have to get painted.
Yeah, painted up for that episode. But go follow Mark on all his social and listen to his pod On the Mark. He has some incredible insight on the game of golf, mainly because of his knowledge of the game. He knows a lot more than we do about the game and why people do the things they do, from caddying and playing, and from his brother. So go check out Mark. But this is the part of the time of the show where we lock it in with our picks presented by Swannies. Use our code BSG25 for 25% off. You're not going to get that anywhere. It looks good. It feels good. You'll love it. But I want Brady to do real quick is Brady has made Excel sheet from all of our picks, PGA and LPGA, and it shows how good or how bad our picks are. And he's kind of got our record for the season. Can you kind of update everybody listening how bad or maybe how good our picks have been?
Yeah. So what I did was, however our players finish that we pick, I'll take that scored apart and basically just add it together. So obviously you want your player to finish under par because you want to be the lowest scored a par. So when your player finishes over par, it's going to add strokes. I'm not quite sure how to do it when they get cut. I feel like just like you would rather your guy get cut than just finish like over
Over
par.
par?
Yeah, I think that's a good incentive, honestly.
Yeah. Please get cut.
But yeah, just please get cut or something like that, But anyways, this past week there was no cut. It was a 70-player field, so if your player finished over par, you just had to deal with it. Currently, Zach is 7 over par. This is a PGA Tour, by the way. He is 7 over par on the PGA Tour. Casey is 2 over par. Mitch is 9 under par, and I am 22 under par.
We got a lot to catch up with that, man.
But as we'll get to later, or in just a few short minutes, we'll talk about the LPGA Tour, and I'm going to combine the PGA and the LPGA scores, and that'll be like your total. So currently, Mitch is in first between both of them.
He's riding Minji Lee till she falls apart.
Yeah,
You already know.
He's already know until it runs out of gas. So anyway, last week was the Zozo. Colin Morikawa won it. None of us picked him. Zach with Ricky 7 over. Sheesh. I couldn't say anything. Xander was 2 over.
My boy wasn't. Yeah, my boy wasn't.
Yeah, Brady was on one under par with Min Woo Lee. We're just got to start picking Min Woo and Min G every week. They're playing.
Somebody's got to pick one of them. Yeah.
No PGA picks this week, for there's no tournament. They pick back up next week. So with that, we're going to jump straight to the LPGA. So Brady, you can kind of give us our scores there, and we'll kind of talk about what's coming up with LPGA.
Yep. So Mitch picked the number on the head here. He got Minji Lee correct. Got 16 under par on top of her performance last week with an 11 under par. So he's leading everyone by 11 strokes on the LPGA side. Yeah.
Jeez,
so we'll keep this updated throughout the year. I kind of like this because it gives us something to look forward to, and we can keep up with our stats and stuff.
Yeah,
then people can see whose picks they trust to throw on DraftKings, whatever else they use.
Yeah, get a running tally.
You're pretty safe if you're picking anybody with the last name Lee on any tour.
Yeah.
Right now you are.
And so this week for the LPGA, this is an inaugural event, the Maybach Championship. First time playing this, so no defending champion. 500 CME Globe points are up for grabs with a $3 million purse. Pretty big for the LPGA. If you want to watch, you can watch on Wednesday and Saturday because it's over in Malaysia, so time difference. It'll be on Peacock and the Golf Channel from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. So if you want to watch if you're a night owl and you can't sleep, watch you some women's golf, some LPGA. I was reading today, and we did have it's a pretty good field. Part of the purse being so big is drawing in some names. 5 major winners have been added to this tournament. Celine Boutier, Nelly Corder, Brooke Henderson, Jin Young Ko, and Min Ji Lee's in the field, my guy. Including in the field 2 of the 4 major winners from just this year, Ruan Ying and Allison Corpez. And this is the first, I saw this in an article, ever women's tournament sanctioned by the LPGA. So with that, I'm going to start with my picks. She's in the field. She has had 7 top 10s this year. I'm calling her, saying she's back. We're about to be swinging back to Florida in a couple weeks, and I'm going to pick her for that tournament as well. Give me the American Nelly Corda.
Can she do it? She was on a good, like, everyone thought she was going to be the one that broke through and just like made all the noise at the top like every week.
Oh, yeah.
And she did for a while, but here lately I think she's been struggling. But I think it's time for her to make a comeback. So
yeah, we need that swing back to American soul. I don't think she likes playing overseas. Give me LPGA American swing of the tour, and she's coming. She's dialed in. Who y'all got?
You already know who I got.
He's got the
Minji Lee.
Minji Lee Ridner. At this point, we're convinced she's the only LPGA golfer he knows the name of, but that's okay because he's winning with her. He's winning with her.
He's making.
Don't hate.
I'm going to take maybe not a winner, but I'm trying to get my points back up on the LPGA because I'm in last. I'm going with the Lady of France, Celine Boutier. She's coming off of a win at the Monday
she's had a big
Evian.
win.
Yeah. So hopefully she's still playing well. Haven't seen much from her since then, but we'll keep an eye out for her.
That's our picks for the LPGA. You can trust them. You can lock them in. Use BSG25 for 25% off of your total order. So this is a segment of, I guess it's my week to do it, for yelling, the ball's going right, about hitting your head. Here's what's upcoming for BSG and just stuff going on. Brady, tell us about this first one.
Oh, yeah. I added this in here because I just didn't know where else to put it. But I wanted to give a good shout out to our guys at the Point University men's team. They finished in second at the Bojangles Intercollegiate. Jacob Joseph, who we played on the channel, and Jan Pablo Gonzalez Rule, both finishing T5 on the individual leaderboard.
The boys are, I think they're getting hot. I think Coach Lytle is getting them, kind of primed back to where Point used to be. He's got some great athletes on the team this year, so I'm hoping they can get it together. So shout out Point. We got coming up next week, part 1 of Tallamore, followed by part 2, Mid-South Tobacco Road. We're still working on the trail series. I think it's 2 weeks ago, it was like, hey, this is a good idea, to now we're going to do it. We just got to get it nailed down. Last thing I have right here is for you to know, Zach and Mitchell may be adding new putters to the bag. Are you gonna commit, Mitch? You gonna commit?
I'm still looking. Possibly.
If you follow, it's called Lab. And apparently the guy's from Georgia. I think the guy that created Lab putters. I want to say Scott knows him. I've seen him talking on social media. So Lab putters, that's what they're checking out too. And we'll end it, boys, with the drop zone question of the week. I'm going to do the second one. How many rounds of golf do you think you could get in a day if nobody was in front of you slowing you down and you're playing by yourself?
I'm going 2.
That's it?
I'm tired after
2?
36. I'm tired after 36.
That's with a cart?
Well, with a cart, what's the temperature outside?
Perfect.
Are we perfect conditions? Perfect conditions.
65.
Cooler full of beverages.
How long are you staying out there?
All right, perfect conditions. I'm out there for
54. You're a live kind of guy.
I would say, I could probably do 54.
Give me PGA Tour quality. I'm going 72.
Yeah,
I'm playing a whole tournament while I'm out there.
Yeah, that's 4 rounds. The record, we talked about this not too long ago. Joel Damon's caddy has the record.
Which is mind-blowing, what you're about to say.
I think it's 15. Is that right? 15 rounds?
I believe it was.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You gotta be running. You don't care about score. You're just hitting the ball and going.
That's what he said he was doing basically. I remember he said he had like 1 round in the 90s, and his lowest round was like a 64 or something like that. So I mean, he's all over the place.
What's the rules on? Do you start at sunrise and you have to be done at when it's dark, or can you go?
I would imagine so. Yeah. But with that being said, I think where he did it, he had like almost like 14 or 15 hours of daylight, which I don't think we get that around here since we're in a hole, basically.
I mean, you're basically playing around an hour.
Yeah.
You are moving.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
But I think I could at least get 4, maybe 5. I'd say 4 to be safe.
5 would be huge.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a pretty compact course too, like not a lot of driving, not a lot of riding.
Somewhere like Roanoke.
Yeah, a Roanoke. Now, Roanoke, you getting around there quick.
Well, when I played out at the farm a couple weeks ago for the Dove Shoot, I played 45 holes.
You weren't tired?
Oh, I was a little tired afterwards, but it was also pretty warm out there too.
Well, let us know in the comments how many rounds you think you could play. And let us know the drop zone question. We appreciate Marvin coming on. I think that's it for episode 75. Looking forward. Make sure you go follow us on Instagram subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That helps us a lot. We're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. We're 230 away. I think we can do it. We just need a video to pop off. It's about 50, 60 subs from a video. So if you're not subscribed, go do that. Help us out. Hit for 75. We'll see y'all next time.